Hello everybody, this is Rabbi Gershom Francis, and you're listening to Teiras Arizal. Here we'll talk about the kavanahs of the Arizal for Chil, Shabbos, and Yomim Tovim. This shir is dedicated in the memory of my father, Rabbi Menachem Mendel ben Avraham Olav Hashalom. You can now dedicate a shir in the honor of a loved one by supporting the shir on Spotify. We hope you enjoy. L'shem yichud, kudshabrichu, u'shchinte. In this episode, we'll explain the inyan of Chaunkah, al pi Kabbalah and Chassidus. Let's take a moment to think about the 6 midos of Zer Anpin. Reb Chaim Vital explained that the Moyadim and Chagim are connected these 6 midos, meaning Chagas, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, and Nehi, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod of Zer Anpin. Pesach and Sfiras HaOmer is within Chesed, because Hashem did Chesed for us when He redeemed us from Mitzrayim. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot is within Midas HaGvura, because those holidays deal with Binyan HaMalchus, and Binyan HaMalchus is an inyan of Gvura. Shavuos is within Tiferes, because Shavuos represents the essence of Torah, which is Tiferes. Then we come to Nehi, which is Netzach, Hod, and Yesod. Purim is within Netzach. Chanukah is within Hod. And the beer behind this is that just as Netzach and Hod are considered to be Labar Migufa, outside of the body, meaning the legs are considered to be outside of the body, which is the chest area, so too Chanukah and Purim are also Labar, meaning they're outside of the Moyadim, which are Min HaTorah, but rather the Moyadim of Chanukah and Purim are from the Nevi'im, and it's known that the Nevi'im got their Hashpah and Hamshacha from Netzach and Hod. That's why Chanukah and Purim are represented by Netzach and Hod, by Netzach and Hod of Zer Anpin. Tu B'Shvat and Tu B'Av is within Yesod. Of course, we're not going to go into the details of this. That'll be explained in a different place. The Rashash was Megala that we're not just connecting things here. It's not just simply a puzzle, but rather the deeper inyan here is that the Arizal explained that there are 2 types of kavanahs. One type of kavanah is called Partzuf Hayamim, which is the kavanah for the Seder of Aliyas HaOlamos, how the Olamos ascend every day throughout the year. And then you have Partzuf Hazmanim, which are the kavanahs of how the Olamos ascend dafke on the Moyadim and the Chagim. In the Rashash, the Partzuf Hazmanim, meaning the Seder of the Aliyas HaOlamos for the Chagim and Moyadim, changes our whole focus of Tefillah, and it changes our whole Avodah. During the Yomim Tovim, the Kavanas Ari change entirely. Each Chag and Moed contains its own Seder of Aliyos through the Tefillos of the Chag. Now, this is a huge idea, especially for those that learn Kisvei Arizal, according to the Rashash. Now, the Arizal was Megale through Reb Chaim Vital, the Seder of Aliyas HaOlamos for certain times. If we look carefully, we'll find that the Arizal explained the Seder for Aliyas HaOlamos as they are generally throughout the year, but then a special Seder for Rosh Hashanah, for Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Shavuos, but not for Purim, Chanukah, Tu B'Av, and Tu B'Shvat. We do not have the Seder Aliyas HaOlamos and its Tikkunim for the Moyadim of Purim, Chanukah, Tu B'Shvat, and Tu B'Av, which, as we mentioned before, are within Netzach, Hod, and Yesod of Zer Anpin. Now, wherever the Arizal was Megale, a new Seder Aliyas HaOlamos, within the framework of parts of Hazmanim, that Seder becomes the focus alone and nothing else. This is particularly true for Kisvei HaRashash and the way the Rashash explained it. Take, for example, on Pesach till Sfiras HaOmer, those who are mechavein kavanahs according to the Rashash are not mechavein the normal kavanahs that are done throughout the year at all. They only stick to the inyan of Pesach and the kavanahs of Pesach all throughout, from Pesach all through Sfiras HaOmer, only the kavanahs of Pesach, which is the hamshacha of chasadim, which is the hamshacha of moichin, all which are done during the Seder, and then after the Seder, through Sfiras HaOmer. That's the whole kavanah the whole time, nothing else. The focus is totally on parts of Hazmanim. However, those that learn a little bit different than the Rashash and the other Sidurei Tzadikim don't take out the Hanhaga for the rest of the year, but they simply add a new Hanhaga. But according to the Rashash, when there's this new Hanhaga of parts of Hazmanim, that's all you focus on. So as we mentioned before, that the Chagim of Chanukah and Purim belong to the Raglayim of parts of Hazmanim, which is Netzach and Hod of Zer Anpin. Purim is Netzach, and Chanukah is Hod. Now, just to make sure we're all on the same page here, it's important to understand Partsufim a little bit. The basics is that when you take a look at the Spherois, they're also broken down into Partsufim. For example, Keser is Arech Anpin. Chachma is Abba. Bina is Ima. From Abba stems Yisrael Saba. From Ima stems Tivuna. And then there's the Hamshacha to Zer Anpin. Since Abba and Ima and Yisrael Saba and Tivuna are Mamshech Moichin to Zer Anpin. Zer Anpin is Nimshech Aha'ara to parts of Leah, and Zer Anpin is also Mamshech, its Hamshacha, to parts of Yaakov and parts of Rachel. Parts of Yaakov stands by Netzach de Zer Anpin, and parts of Rachel stands by Hod de Zer Anpin. So throughout the year, Zer Anpin is Mamshech the Hamshacha to parts of Yaakov, which is by Netzach de Zer Anpin, and parts of Rachel, which is by Hod de Zer Anpin. Now parts of Yaakov, which is by Netzach, takes the Hamshacha, which it was Mekabel from Zer Anpin, and passes it over to Rachel, which is at Hod de Zer Anpin. Now, something very strange occurs by Chanukah. On Chanukah, parts of Yaakov moves from Netzach de Zer Anpin and goes to Hod de Zer Anpin, right next to Rachel. Right next to parts of Rachel. And why is it happening on Chanukah? L'choira, it would seem that this is a Yerida for parts of Yaakov, because throughout the whole year, as we mentioned, parts of Yaakov is by Netzach de Zer Anpin. So why should it go to Hod de Zer Anpin? And the answer to this is that Be'emes, Sfiras Hod was Nifgam. The Sfira of Hod de Zer Anpin incurred a kaviyachol, a fracture, if you will. What's the fracture that occurred to Sfiras Hod de Zer Anpin? What's the pagam? The pagam of Sfiras Hod is that when Yaakov Avinu fought with the Samech Mem or Sareh Shel Esav, the Sareh Shel Esav hit Yaakov by his thigh, and because of this, it's explained in Kabbalah that Hod de Zer Anpin and Netzach de Nukva was Nifgam. Hoid of Zer Anpin and Netzach of Nukva was fractured. The meaning behind this is that originally Hoid was connected to Chesed and Netzach was connected to Gevura. Netzach was supposed to be Metakein Gevura and Hoid was supposed to be Metakein Chesed. Through the fight of Yaakov Avinu and the Malach, Netzach and Hoid were fractured or knocked out of its place, and because of this, Netzach is only Chasadim, and Hoid is only Gevuros. And because of this, the Nevi'im cry out, Hoidi Nehepach, or Kol Hayom Dava. These psukim explain that there is a change in Midas Hoid due to this fight with Yaakov Avinu and the Malach. When this fight occurred, it made it so that Hoid de Zer Anpin and Netzach de Nukva was knocked out of place. Why both Hoid de Zer and Netzach de Nukva? Because parts of Rachel is normally placed behind Zer Anpin. As it says in Kabbalah, it's Achoyre Zah. So imagine parts of Rachel opposite parts of Zer Anpin, Kaviyachol. So you have the left of Zer Anpin is the right of Rachel. The right of Rachel is the left of Zer Anpin. That's why the Arizal taught that Hoid de Zer Anpin and Netzach de Nukva was Nifgam. So in order to fix this problem of having the Pegam by Hoid de Zer Anpin and by Netzach de Nukva, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it so that parts of Yaakov is Mekabel the Hamshacha from Zer Anpin at Netzach de Zer Anpin, and gives the Hamshacha over to parts of Rachel standing in front of Hoid de Zer Anpin. So again, parts of Yaakov is standing at a safe place, Netzach de Zer, and then it's Mekabel the Hamshacha and gives it over to parts of Rachel as Mekabel, not from Zer Anpin, because it can't be Mekabel from Zer Anpin, because Hoid was Nifgam. So instead it's Mekabel from parts of Yaakov, which is standing in the safe place of Netzach de Zer Anpin. But on Chanukah, this whole thing changes. On Chanukah, something special happens. On Chanukah, parts of Rachel receives and the Hamshacha from Ima Ilah and Zer Anpin by herself. Again, on Chanukah, parts of Rachel, standing by Hoid de Zer Anpin, receives the Hamshacha from Ima and Zer Anpin by herself, not through parts of Yaakov. So because of this change because of this great change, parts of Rachel remains by Hoid de Zer Anpin and is Mekabel there. But something special happens on Chanukah. All of a sudden, parts of Rachel standing in front of Hoid de Zer Anpin is all of a sudden able to be Mekabel from Ima and Zer Anpin by herself. As if there was no Pagam, as if there was never a Pagam there. And so, parts of Rachel is now being Mekabel from Ima and Zer Anpin by herself from the place that was originally Nifgam. And not only that, she's Mekabel not even through parts of Yaakov. So because of this change within Midas Hoid, because of this change within Sfiras Hoid de Zer Anpin and parts of Rachel being Mekabel, so because of this wondrous change, parts of Rachel stands in front of Hoid de Zer Anpin and is Mekabel from Ima and Zer Anpin by herself. And because of this, what happens? Parts of Yaakov must leave its place now and join parts of Rachel at Hoid de Zer Anpin. There becomes a great yichud, a yichud shalem, the highest level of a yichud between parts of Rachel and parts of Yaakov, as we'll explain soon. This yichud is hinted in the name Matisyahu ben Yochanan, Mem Bet Yud. Mem Bet Yud hints to the gematria of Shem Ben. Shem Ben is the shame of parts of Rachel, of Nukva Dezer Anpin. What are we saying? We're saying that the change can be felt through the name of Matisyo ben Yochanan, who had Mesiras Nefesh to fight the Yevanim. Within his name shows his destiny that he would make a change even to the lowest dargos, which is parts of Rachel, Nukva Dezer Anpin. And that's why his name is Matisyo ben Yochanan, Mem Bet Yud, the gematria of Shem Ben, the Shem of Malchus. Through the Mesiras Nefesh of Matisyo ben Yochanan, he was Nimshech 8 days. This is a remez that Matisyo ben Yochanan was metaking all of the spheros until the 8th sphera, the sphera Shminis. That's these lights that are Nimshech. It's the Koyach HaTikun of 8 spheros till the sphera Shminis, which is Spheras Hoid. Keneged this Pu'ula, we celebrate down here on earth 8 days of Adlakas Neiros. But Lamaila, it's a siman of the Tikkun that was brought about. Through the Mesiras Nefesh of Matisyo ben Yochanan, he was Nimshech 8 days of Ner Chanukah, meaning this is a remez that he was metaking all of the spheros till the sphera Shminis, till the 8th sphera, which is Midas Hoid. He was metaking the Pagam. And Keneged this Pu'ula, down here on earth we celebrate 8 days of Adlakas Neiros. The holiday of Chanukah is the tikkun of Midas Hoid, and parts of Rachel being able to be makabel the hashpah on her own from Ima and Zer Anpin. That's Chanukah. And this is why we also say Ala Nisim in the section called Birchas Hoida, which is also Keneged Hoida Zer Anpin. Now, whenever you're mamshecha hamshacha to these lower dargos, you really need a shmira. Imagine the president or a king going through a neighborhood or a city which is foreign or alien to the king. There's a need for military protection, for police. So too it is kaviyachol and shamayim when there's a special hamshacha. When a special hamshacha is nimshich down lamata, it often comes with the need of protection, the need of shmira. This shmira is hinted in the name of the Chag, and why the Chag is called Chanukah. Because Chanukah is the name Chana Chaf Vav. Chaf Vav is 26, which is Shem Havaya. And Chana is 63, which is Shem Sag. And Shem Sag is connected to Bina, Ima Ilah. So through the name of Chanukah, we have a remez of a hamshacha, which is nimshech, from Ima, Bina, to Zer Anpin, all the way to Rachel, all the way to parts of Rachel. But why do we need to have Shem Havaya twice? Chana is Shem Havaya, and Chafvav is Shem Havaya. Why do we need to have 2 Shem Havayas? Why do we need to have 2 Shemas here? The answer to this is that it's a remes for the Shmira that we're going to mention now. It's known that the Iker of Shem Sag, Yud Ke Vav Ke, of Shem Sag, is Yud Yud Aleph Yud. And Yud Yud Aleph Yud is the gematria of Kale. Aleph and Lamed. Kale. Also, if you take Shem Havaya, which is the gematria of 26, and you add in it the 4 letters of Shem Havaya and the Shem Havaya itself, so you also get again the gematria of Kale, which is 31. So because of this, we see that the name Chanukah has inside of it 2 times Kale. 2 shemas of Kale. One Kale is merumaz in the word Chana, and the other Kale, which is merumaz in simply Shem Havaya with the 4 letters and the word itself. That equals Kale. That also equals Kale. So we have 2 Kales. Now what happens with these 2 shemas of Kale? If we spell them out, Aleph and Lamed, it equals up to a gematria which is Megala the Shmira. it equals up to a gematria, which reveals the shmira that protects this hamshacha that comes down lamata. Because Aleph and Lamed equals up to Shah, which is the Shin Ayin Nahirin, the 370 oiros that are nimshich to these lower madrigas as a protective measure that chitzonim or klippa can't get hold of this hamshacha. So here we see that in the name Chanukah, you have a remez of two shemes of kale. These two shemes of kale open up and become Aleph Lamed. And Aleph Lamed is the koach of Shana Hirin, which is the 370 oiros that are nimshech to protect this hashpah as it comes down to the lowest dargos down lamata. Now some Sifrei Kavanos explain that the Nes of Chanukah is through Sfiras Netzach, which is Sherlin on Chanukah. But this doesn't change the kavanah of what we set up above. The Nes of Chanukah is taken through the Sfira of Netzach, but the Tikkun of Chanukah is Tikkun Midas Hoid. Now the Yevanim wanted to stop Bris Milah. If the Yevanim would have stopped Bris Milah, what would this have been? It would have been a pagam to the Midah. It would have been a pagam to the Sfira of Yesod. Yesod Dezer Anpin. What happens when you make a pagam to Yesod Dezer Anpin? It makes it so that the powerful Hei Chasadim don't come down. The powerful Hei Chasadim are not nimshich lamata. And what happens when the Hei Chasadim are not nimshich lamata? It causes a great achiza of chitzonim on the lower madrigas. And particularly, this pagam would have hurt the most Hei Dezer Anpin, because Hei Dezer Anpin is that last stop before Yesod, and because of that, if the Yevanim would have stopped Bris Milah, the pagam and the achiza of chitzonim would have dafke went on to Midas Hoid first. And because of this, it's fitting to say that the Yevanim were actually attacking Midas Hoid. Because of this, we could see how the Yevanim were actually continuing the pagam which was caused by the Soreh Shel Esav. And therefore, the act of the Yevanim wanting to cancel Bris Milah is dafke related to Samech Mem Soreh Shel Esav. But through Matisyahu and his 5 sons, they caused the opposite effect. The Arizal explains that Matisyahu and his 5 sons represent the hamshacha of these Hei Chasadim being nimshech through Yesod. And of course, because of this, we say Ala Nisim dafke in the bracha of Hoidah, which is Keneged Hei Dezer Anpin.